Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! Good morning. 2 days after the big election, and we still don't know. We don't know, but we are way closer to knowing than we were on election night, and we're closer still than yesterday morning. So I want to give a quick update to all you nerds out there and take a look at the latest results, because we have some new data since the last time I streamed. And the thing I wanted to do this time was, there's been a lot of focus from everyone, myself included, on, what are the paths for Biden to win? But we haven't really talked about what are the paths, or what is the path for Donald J. Trump to win? Because this is not done yet. And actually, there are ways for us to have President Trump another 4 years of Donald Trump. And so we're going to go into it. And Scotty, yes, Scotty, you are correct. This is actually the penthouse. I'm coming to you from the penthouse of Trump Tower, which is decorated in a very very tasteful, reserved, thoughtful, contemplative way, as is in keeping with the owner's worldview. But let's go into the numbers, because I'm not here to just talk about Donald Trump's interior decorating. Everybody's entitled to their own style. It's fine if he likes the gold. That's cool. Let's look at the red and blue, though. So right now, as of this minute, you've got a 253 to 214 race, and you need 270. So you've got this little smidgen of about 17 votes, electoral college votes, that Biden needs. And you've got 56 electoral vote gap for Donald J. Trump. And we all know from previous streams that if Biden needs 17, if he needs 17 and he gets 6 from Nevada, plus what makes 17? Plus 11. Oh, look, next door, Arizona. 11 electoral votes. So 11 here, 6 here, bada boom, bada bing. President Biden wins. Doesn't matter what happens on the rest of the map, right? And right now, Biden has a 8,000 vote lead in Nevada, and he has a little bit bigger, only not that much bigger, 69,000 vote lead in Arizona. So certainly not a done deal that Biden will pick up both. You would think maybe he will pick up at least one of them, in which case he would then also need to pick up North Carolina, where Biden is behind by, looks like, about 80,000 votes, or Georgia, where Biden is behind by 18,000 votes. So you pick up one of these two and one of these two, or he could just go for the one and done with Pennsylvania. But right now, Biden is still behind in Pennsylvania by over 140,000 votes, 130,000 votes. So this is not done. I know a lot of Democrats are, feeling way better today than they were on election night, and even better than yesterday morning. But this is none of these states are, rapidly surging towards Biden. Obviously, the votes have all been cast, and we just need to count them. But the counting is taking some time, and we all have to be patient. But I wanted to now focus on the projection for how Donald Trump actually gets to that magical 56 number. So let me show you guys the scenario planning. And we can just see like, oh, actually, you'll notice it's not crazy. It's not a crazy path. I mean, look, if right now, let's say we don't know the outcome of Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. The rest of the map is pretty much set for us. So if you're Team Trump, what do you need to believe to win? So, well, you're kind of behind in Arizona, not by much, but you are behind. But you're not behind. You're closer in Nevada. So let's say Nevada goes. You eke out a Trump victory in Nevada. So make that kind of a light blue. That gets you to 2.6. Oh, sorry, wrong color. The light pink. That gets you to 222. Okay. Then you pick up the big prize. I would like an order of Pennsylvania, please. Boom. That gets you to 242. You get North Carolina, which you got last time. So that'll get you to 257. And then you get Georgia, 273. So you see, even if Biden wins Arizona, if Biden loses Nevada, loses Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, it's President Trump all over again. And so as a reminder, like, well, how difficult is this going to be to pull off for Donald Trump? Okay, so let's now look at how Trump did in each of those states in 2016. So let me share the 2016 results, and we'll see how realistic this is. So 2016, how did Trump do? We said he needs Georgia. Well, he won Georgia by 5 points in 2016. Not crazy to think that he could do it again, maybe by less, but still he could win it. He won North Carolina. He won that by about 3.5 points. So also not crazy. Pennsylvania, he won that barely, but he did win it. And that's basically all. And then he would need to win Nevada, which he lost. So that's probably the heaviest lift. He'd either need Arizona or Nevada. Now, if he gets Arizona, which he did last time by a few points, then this scenario, we go back to the Trump victory scenario in 2020, then this scenario is not crazy. I mean, frankly, like, let's give Nevada to Biden because Hillary won it, but let's give Arizona to Trump because he won it. You get to 278, you're good to go. Now, it doesn't look like he's going to win Arizona, so I'm going to move that back to Biden based on the latest counts, but I do think there is a shot for him in Nevada. And so that's one way that he gets there. So let's sort of make these guys gray again, because these are the ones that we don't know. We don't have enough data yet. This is why today you've got basically three states on the East Coast and then 2 in the Southwest that are really going to determine the future of this country. And while Biden has more paths to 270, he can just get Pennsylvania, He can get the Nevada-Arizona combo. He can split Nevada-Arizona, but then add either Georgia, North Carolina. I suppose another one is he could also get, would that work? Could he get North Carolina and Georgia? Yeah, he could get North Carolina, Georgia, and lose all the rest. So in poker terms, Biden has a lot more outs than Trump. Trump basically has to kind of run the table, but it's possible. I mean, it's not crazy to think that Trump could pick up one of these two like that, and then pick this one up again like he did last time, pick this one up again like he did last time. And by the way, in Pennsylvania, he technically is in the lead. And in North Carolina, let's look at the latest results. Let's review. Like, okay, Tom, you said that he won them last time, but could he really pull this off this time? Well, what are the votes right now? Guess what? In Pennsylvania, he's leading. He's leading. Biden is the underdog in Pennsylvania. In North Carolina, guess what? Trump is leading. In Georgia, guess what? Trump is leading. Not by a lot, but he is leading. So if he holds the leads in these three, right, and then just picks up one of these two, he's good to go. So the idea that this whole thing is not done. Like, we may not get Donald back in the gold-plated walls of Trump Tower. And if you're a Trump supporter, he may not have to go there. He may be able to stay and hang out in the White House and, do what he does. So next for this stream, I wanted to take a look at some of the post-election remarks from each president, some of their video remarks. Then we can look at their Twitter communications, like what's the narrative each candidate is talking about. Before I do that, I did want to thank some of the supporters of this channel who make all of this content possible. So let me quickly give a shout out. We'll start with our highest level EVP. And if you ever want to become a member and support the channel, just hit the join button, join link rather. And it's very much appreciated. All the money goes to basically creating more content and advertising this channel. Many of you may not have encountered Nerds for Humanity before. That's why we want to kind of get the word out. So this is, and just so you know, I'm taking some actually days off work on election week to focus on content creation. So appreciate the opportunity to be with you. So there's Kristen Slevin, who's been a member for a very long time, almost a year. Thank you, Kristen. We've got Mindful Skeptics, Laura Lane, Patrick Dunn, Arkansas for Yang, Joshua Frick, Fat Lamb, V Lamb, JM Sap at the VP level. And then at the hardcore, we've got Dean L, Robert Wu, Yang Deng, Susan Clifton, Mona Burton, Landline 51, Mr. History Fan, Byram Hess, Jackalego, Kirsch Thieva, Phoenix Congress, not DK Metcalf. That's funny. Oh no. Scroll, boy. There we go. Tracy Mesa, David, Jean Lim, Mike Chang. All right. And then at the verified level, I think those were the hard. Oh, what the hell? Hold on a second. Did we get all of our? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. This thing is zoomed in. Almost done. Now, last level is verified, and then we'll go into the video responses and the Twitter commentary from each candidate. We've got Miles Patton, Hui Win, Nell Nieves, Stephen Day, Brad Lee, Jalopy Maximum, Aaron Lutterman, Emma Damasis, Brenda Plord, Anna Oliveira, Joel Sanford, Spirited Evocative, KM, Bike, James Johnson, Blair Walsingham, Jessica Locke, Ryan Haywood, Rastafasta, Tony Perella, Von Dormel, Elizabeth Norris, Christina Chang, Lisa Strawn, Shake and Make, Doris Emmerich, Nell Nieves, Mike CK, Gail Machado, Richard Johnson, Roger Green, Ben McLean, Lori Green, Soldier One, Emerald DX, Jadwiga, Sophia, Hitachi, your mommin. Your mommin. Peter Knight, Arez, Sugar Sweet, Albert Tom, Brandon David, Yes Ramirez, Brian, Helen Fung, and Lisa Childress. So thank you all for supporting the channel. Very much appreciated. Also, if you all are finding these streams useful, go ahead and like and share it and subscribe. Okay, so next, let's go into some of the video reactions from each candidate. We're not going to watch the whole things, but just to get a sense of how the candidates are talking about this. So this is Biden talking about what he saw. Oops. Let me make sure I share it with audio. Bear with me. Share audio. Okay.
Yesterday, once again proved that democracy is the heartbeat of this nation. Just as it has been the heartbeat of this nation for 2 centuries. And even in the face of a pandemic, more Americans voted this election than ever before in American history. Over 150 million people cast their votes. I think that's just extraordinary. And if we had any doubts, we shouldn't have any longer about a government of, by, and for the people. It's very much alive in America. Here, the people rule. Power can't be taken or asserted. It flows from the people.
I think you get a sense. You get a sense of the vibe of the Biden response. I would summarize the Biden response as basically like, hey, this is a great system. Let's let the people's voices be heard. I'm going to be super calm, and I'm just going to, you know, act presidential, right? And then you've got President Trump. Let's see his remarks. Share audio. Okay, so he gave a little bit longer speech. We'll go to the middle because
Ohio, think of this. Ohio, a tremendous state, a big state. I love Ohio. We won by 8.1%, 461. Think of it. Almost 500,000 votes. North Carolina, big victory with North Carolina. And so we won there. We lead by
he hasn't won North Carolina yet.
76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
All right. So that's basically a nice contrast between the two candidates. You've got one that's saying, hey, we think we're going to win. We need to count, complete counting all the votes. And then you basically have Trump declaring victory, saying that like he won states that haven't yet certified their results. But, you know, in fairness to him, he is in the lead in North Carolina by, you know, let's just look at the data together. Hold on. I mean, you heard him just say that he won North Carolina. And here you have North Carolina as of this minute. You know, they have 95% of all of the votes counted, and he is leading by about maybe 67,000 votes out of probably about 6 million cast. So technically he's in the lead. I don't know if he can really say he won North Carolina. I don't think any of the news organizations, I don't even think Fox News is saying he won North Carolina, but you can clearly see that he's taking a very strong position that this is a done deal. And in fact, there have been pro-Trump protesters in Michigan yesterday that were, you know, chanting "Stop the vote" because he had already been in the lead. Interestingly enough, if you took a plane from Michigan and then you flew to Arizona, where Trump is behind, there were pro-Trump protesters outside those election centers saying, count the vote. So it's a very kind of interesting and a little bit cynical kind of political biased protesting going on. It's like, well, you can't say count the vote and yell and scream count the vote when the president's behind in a state, but then yell and scream stop the vote when he's just a little bit ahead. It's sort of like, you know, if the Seahawks are ahead of the Patriots, you know, in the third quarter, you don't say stop the game. You run it till the clock is down to 0, and then you see who has more points, and that's it. So, any rate, that is a summary of the video responses, and then let's take a look at what they're saying on Twitter, because that will be up to the minute. So we'll start with Joe Biden, and then we'll go to Donald. So this is Joe Biden, as you can see, blue check mark. This is the real guy. What is either he or more likely his campaign saying? He's saying, as the votes continue to be counted, tune in as we give an update on where things stand. So he has a live stream going on right now. He's saying every vote must be counted. He's saying Donald Trump does not decide the outcome of this election, nor do I. The American people decide. The Biden Fight Fund. Okay, so the people are preparing for legal action. I'm confident we will emerge victorious. This will be the victory of the people. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's a little sense of what Joe Biden has been saying for the last few hours. If we switch over to the president's Twitter feed, what is the president saying? And in this case, I actually believe that he's more likely to be at the keyboard typing away. Okay, just 31 minutes ago, he's saying big legal win in Pennsylvania. He's demanding that we stop the count. I mean, let's just take hold on. Let's just take a second there. This is the president of the greatest democracy in the world. And he's putting in all caps that we should stop counting the votes. Now, I know there's pro-Trump people in the stream right now, and I don't want to attack your candidate, but I find this very disconcerting, but we'll move on. He talks about jobless claims dip to the lowest since March, and a link to a Breitbart article. Okay. And then Twitter is asking me to follow Pence and Laura Ingraham. Not going to do that right now. Then he's saying, former Nevada Attorney General, no question Trump would have won Nevada convincingly if only they didn't have mail-in voting. I believe that, actually. I believe that if voting is harder to do, you tend to see the most committed, kind of enthusiastic supporters come out and stand in line and vote. I guess the question is, like, should the vote be like this kind of like American Ninja Warrior, like obstacle course? Or, you know, should it be more like paying your taxes? You can do that over mail, or paying your mortgage. You can do that over mail. Like, it's obviously you want to make sure it's secure, but you do a lot of sensitive stuff over mail. But anyway, I agree. In this case, I agree with Donald Trump that if you make it really hard to vote, that he would have done better relative to Biden. Now, some people will argue, well, a lot of the Biden voters were, you know, maybe they work in the service industry. It's harder for them to get out of work and stand in line for several hours, or they might be people more concerned about COVID. So that's that. And then what else is he saying? Well, Twitter's saying this is disputed, but let's just see what he said 1 hour ago. I mean, he's been very active. Oh, he's saying any vote that came in after election day will not be counted. I don't think that's technically true. I think there are some states where if it were postmarked on election day, but arrives subsequently. So if the voter on the day of the election got his ballot or her ballot to the post office and it were postmarked received on election day, seems to me like that should be counted. You shouldn't penalize a voter if the mail system isn't able to deliver it on time. But I mean that this is what Trump is saying. We'll take a couple more looks at Trump's Twitter feed. So stop the count, chaos, blocked windows and observers. Let's see. You know, on this one, I'm not sure that it's either campaign should allow unfettered access to the counting process. Frankly, I don't know if I would trust either campaign employees to be milling around the counting tables. So, but you know, there obviously has to be a balance, and you know, the state governments are elected to conduct these elections, so they have to do their job. All right, and then more stuff about Pennsylvania. Now, I have a bonus path for you all. We talked about how Trump has to run the table with the states, but there is another path, and let's go into that one. So here is the projections again. So you have, remember we said, oh, wait a minute, if Biden holds on to Arizona, right? And let's say he picks up Nevada, he gets to 270, right? So game over. No, not game over. Why? Because if President Trump is able to find sufficient evidence, now you can't just do this on Twitter, but if you found real evidence of election irregularities or any kind of malfeasance in any of the blue states, to say, oh, you know what? We found this dumpster full of Trump votes, you know, in the Great Lakes, and you know, therefore, we think that Michigan is really no longer in should be in the Biden camp, and we're going to take that back, and we're going to call that disputed. Well, guess what happens? Old Joe Biden doesn't get no 270. You know, if they say, oh, actually, we don't have a lot of evidence in Michigan, but we have evidence in, I don't know, Nevada. And in Nevada, we found that some ballots were counted that were actually postmarked even the day after. So Nevada election needs to be conducted over again or needs to be thrown out. And we need to go to the Supreme Court. But by the way, if you take out Nevada, guess what? You know, Trump actually has more electoral votes than Biden. So he should be the president because we need to count every valid electoral vote, yada, yada, yada. They could go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court could decide, like, is 267 enough? Is it right to do a do-over in Nevada? Is that fair that one state gets to do it? So bottom line is there are actually two paths for President Trump to be reelected. One is he runs the table and picks up Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and one of Arizona or Nevada. You know, that's a hard one. That's the inside straight, right? He could do that. Or he could win most of those states, not all of them, lose 2 of them to Biden, allow Biden to technically get to 270, but then pick one of the weakest Biden wins where there's the most kind of questions. Say, oh, this polling center was open an hour longer than it should have been opened, or this ballot collection box was in a place where it should not have been, and yada yada yada. Suddenly, we're going to take that state off the board. You didn't get to 270. And frankly, I got more electoral votes than you did once you take out your stolen, rigged, greatest disgrace in America, hoax, blah, blah, blah state, right? And where do we end up as a country? What the heck did we do? I don't know. But that's basically where you end up. And as Andel's history is saying, that you can already see this narrative emerging. So whether it's true or not, like I'll sort of I don't have the evidence in front of me. I haven't seen, the facts presented by both sides. But what I will tell you is this: how the hell do we get out of that as a country? At some point, we have to stop calling each other, treasonous. At some point, we have to say, look, I don't agree with a lot of what you say. I have a very different worldview. My policy preferences are very different than yours. But look, we're all Americans. We all want the country to thrive. We want people to be healthy. We want people to have jobs. We want people to be able to take care of their families. Like, how can we get together and get something done? And if the next 6 months, well, I mean, seriously, guys, what happens if by January we don't yet know who our president is? Like, how is that good for this country? So, is one man gonna be the better man at some point and say, look, this is a 51-49 kind of decision. I'm gonna take the high road. I doubt it. I think both sides are so dug in that they're going to fight tooth and nail, and their supporters are going to pull no punches. And hopefully we get over that. And come February, March, or rather late January, we swear in the next president, whoever he may be, and we can get back to talking about important things. Like maybe where is the stimulus? Like neither party is talking about the stimulus right now. Yet a lot of people and small businesses are really suffering. And oh, by the way, I know this election's like super interesting, and certainly to me as a political junkie, but we do have a pandemic that is still. I know some people say that we're rounding the turn, but this is the latest data. On November 4th, there were 107,000 new COVID cases. And if you look at number of deaths, on November 4th, there were 1,616 new deaths from COVID. That's half of 9/11, folks. So, yes, I'm rooting for Biden. I know half of the country is rooting for Trump. At some point, we need to root for America, and we need to just solve some problems. We need to figure out this COVID thing. Frankly, we need to find a way to mitigate the spread while we wait for a proven vaccine, as well as keep the economy going. And that's a very hard, complex thing. And it's not shut down the country. It's also not open up like there's no problem. There has to be a middle ground. Secondly, if you look at the number of people unemployed right now, so U.S. unemployment, right now we have 8% of the country is unemployed. So 1 out of 12 people are unemployed, right? And that is millions and millions of people who are unemployed, and they're struggling. And then you've got people who are kind of employed but can barely make ends meet. So here is the data from the Trump administration on unemployment on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I know now you know if this is the first time in the channel, it's definitely a nerd channel. We really go into details on this one. So let's look at the employment situation. This is the unemployment rate, guys. Like we were tracking well under 4. Obviously, COVID crushed us. And now we're at double where we were in December. And if you look at the payroll employment month over month change, you have a huge, you lost over 20 million jobs. This is in thousands. We lost 20 million jobs in end of March, early April. And we've gotten back maybe a third of them, maybe 20% of them. So we still are down 15 million jobs. So somebody's got to figure out, and cutting taxes and cutting environmental protections alone is not going to do it. And frankly, giving more money to giant corporations and the airlines as grants, not even loans, and we don't even get equity ownership, that's not going to do it either. Giving money to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, that's not going to do it. So bottom line is we have a lot of work to do as a country. And if these two parties keep scratching each other's eyes out and accusing, well, your son did this and your son did this and you lie here and well, you lie here. It's like, come on, man. We got to get shit done here. Somebody come up with a plan around the economy, around COVID, around healthcare, and try and execute it like a real leader. Either one of you. I don't care. Like, we need to get work done. Okay, so rant over. I did want to let you guys know I have a petition on change.org. If Biden is elected, to offer Andrew Yang a cabinet role. A lot of people like Yang. Obviously, I do. This channel started out as Nerds for Yang. A lot of people like Yang, even on the Republican side, because he supports an idea around basic income that was originally promoted by Milton Friedman, the very conservative economist, and then was then championed by Richard Nixon, another well-known Republican president. And the idea is, like, rather than having a huge government where you have all these like massive programs and bureaucracy and, you know, sort of government workers, if you're going to have to tax us, just put the money back in the hands of the people, and give everyone an economic floor. It's kind of like a minimum wage, but a minimum income. And what you'll find is that right now, the current welfare and government services system actually discourages work, where if you are unemployed and you get a low-paying job, you'll actually make less money. That's the way the current system works. But with a universal basic income, you get that basic floor, whether you're working or not. So then if you do get a job, you actually are going to be doing even better, which is different than today's system, where for a lot of people, the more money you earn in your job, then you lose these government benefits. And therefore, a rational economic decision is often not to work or to try and cheat the system. So anyway, that petition, if you're interested in supporting it, is at tinyurl.com/Yang cabinet. I'll put that in the chat, and I'll also display it as a banner if you so choose. So With that, I think we'll take one last look at the latest vote counts. I doubt it has changed since we started the stream, but let's just wrap up with the latest data since we're all here. And then I'll say goodbye, nerds. Okay, let's refresh the page in case some new numbers came in. You've got, I think these are still at 86% coming in. Basically, Biden ahead in Nevada by a very slim 8,000 votes. Biden ahead in Arizona by 69,000 votes. Trump ahead in Georgia by 15,000 votes. Trump ahead in North Carolina by about 70,000 votes. And Trump ahead in the giant electoral prize of Pennsylvania by about 75,000 votes. So net, this is a buzzer beater for both of them. And as a reminder, the paths to win, just to summarize how this is going to go down, is this. You either have Biden pick up Nevada and Arizona, and he gets to precisely the bare minimum to win. Not a beautiful victory, not a beautiful, huge, historic victory. And the Trump supporters, if you're out there, you're going to be pissed because your guy was 3 votes off. That's one path for Biden. Another one is he loses Nevada to Trump, but he wins, say, North Carolina. That gets him to 279. Biden could lose Nevada and lose North Carolina, but pick up Georgia. That gets him to 280. He could lose Georgia and lose North Carolina and lose Nevada, but win Pennsylvania. That gets him to 284. In fact, if you win Pennsylvania, you can even give Trump Arizona. Doesn't matter. You still get over 270. If you are a Trump supporter, what you need is you need your man to win Pennsylvania. You need your man to win Pennsylvania. And you need your man to win North Carolina. That'll get you to 249. And you need your man to win Georgia. That'll get you, oh God, I'm doing the wrong colors. No wonder the numbers are going down. All right, sorry, need another cup of coffee. You need your man to win Pennsylvania. You need your man to win Georgia. That'll get you to 269. And then if you get your man to win North Carolina, even if he loses, let's say if he loses Arizona, but he wins Nevada, you guys on the Trump side, you get the whole ball of marbles, right? So that's all you need to do. You need to win Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and one of these two. And as a reminder, you are in the lead in Pennsylvania. You are in the lead in North Carolina. You are in the lead in Georgia. You are not in the lead in Nevada, but you're really close. Now, in fairness, your leads in Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania are very, very slim. So that's why everybody's saying we just don't know what's going to happen in these gray states. It's really too darn close, and that makes this week very exciting for us. But those are the paths to victory. And of course, the other one is with you had to have a Biden media victory, which is he gets these two, he gets a 270. And then you have Trump basically challenge the results in Nevada or maybe Michigan is probably where he might try and say, hey, that's BS. These ballots are bull. This state should be thrown out. And once you throw out one of those states, you could, if Trump gets all those East Coast states, those Southeast states, he could make the argument, I actually have more electoral votes than Joe Biden. Yes, I don't have 270, but neither does he because we have to throw out Nevada. So That's going to be super exciting. Get your lawyers. Lawyers are going to make a ton of money, and they're going to have a really fun career challenge. And I'm guessing supporters may start protesting depending on how this thing goes down. If Biden wins, will Trump supporters protest aggressively? Probably. Will they be violent? I hope not. I don't think they would. I don't know, but we'll see. If Biden wins the electoral count initially, and then Trump argues all the way up to the Supreme Court to have one of the state's electoral votes thrown out and him declared president because he got more, or the House would vote and try and break that tie of sorts, and then somehow Trump pulls it out because the way the Constitution is written is not, it's not the Democrats. Yes, they control the House, but the way they break the tie for an electoral college dispute is not on the number of congressmen. It's actually on the number of congressional districts, which I think the Republicans have an edge because there's more rural districts. But we've never in the history of the country had to go to that length. So we'll see what will happen. But TLDR is lots of paths for Biden. Question is, if Biden pulls one of them off, what will Trump do? Will he make a concession speech, or will he fight tooth and nail till his last breath? And if he does, and if somehow he finds a way with Barr and Giuliani and Jared and that whole crew kind of coming up with a strategy, how will the country deal? Will we just swear in President Trump a second term? And what would that inauguration look like? Jeez, that would be interesting. Well, stay tuned. I'll keep updating you guys. If you're interested, if you found this content helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it out. You could also follow me on Twitter at Nerds for Yang. But with that, I'm going to say goodbye, nerds. Hope the data was useful. You guys keep it real.